Okay, I've just put out a video whereby I've played you the uninterrupted radio messaging between Mick Schumacher and his race engineer after the Nicholas Latifi crash. So I'm now going to go through that same audio and pick out the things that are wrong with it. So here goes. By all means, make comments in the comment section if you pick out something that I don't identify. So here we go. If we look on tracker view, this is about the moment that Latifi is crashing. Mick Schumacher's ahead of him. All right, so Mick Schumacher will see this in his rear view mirror. Now listen to this. Safety car. Did he say safety car then? I'm pretty certain he said safety car. Let's do this again. That sounded like safety car to me. Now, if you look at the location of this, Latifi would have gone out of view. Now, there is a lag between the communications, when we actually hear it. So it's highly likely he'd have been saying that as he was going around turn 15. But what he have seen in his rearview mirror is Latifi perhaps hitting the wall and then beyond the track. Is he able to see that Latifi is not able to get that car moving again? Is he able to see the extent of the debris? Because it's possible, if you just see a car in your rear view mirror losing control and hitting the barrier, how do you know that that car hasn't continued on? How do you know it hasn't got going again and is going to limp its way back round to the pits? Well, the answer is you don't, do you? But straight away, Mick Schumacher is declaring safety car. That's what it sounds like to me. Anyway, we'll carry on.
There'll be a safety car. Yeah, okay, understood. Keep pushing for now.
It will be a safety car. Double check that.
Safety car. There'll be a safety car. Yeah, okay, understood. Keep.
It's amazing how Mick Schumacher is performing the role of the race director, declaring that it will be a safety car when he's gone out of view of Latifi's car and therefore is not aware of the condition of that and whether that car is capable of getting going again.
Pushing for now. You're okay behind.
Now, when the safety car is deployed, look at tracker view and see how long it actually takes for these cars to bunch. It takes a long time just for them to bunch. So those people that are demanding that this race should have restarted earlier, well, look at how long it takes to bunch. You also need to know is the key lap is lap 56. If those cars that are lapped cannot be released on lap 56, it's a safety car finish. That's what the rules and regulations are. If they're not released by the end of lap 56, the earliest you can release the cars is lap 57, and that safety car needs to remain on track for a further lap. So you're not going racing until lap 58 is completed, and that's the end of the race. Safety car finish. So if these lapped cars cannot be released by the end of lap 56, this is guaranteed to be a safety car finish. That is the rules and the regulations of the sport. You cannot resume racing with lapped cars in situ due to the impact that it has on these lapped cars. Like I say, Lando Norris, relative to Gasly, Norris at this stage is in 8th, Gasly is in 7th. You'll see how the gap changes between Norris and Gasly, and that is why we have safety car regulations, and that is why you cannot resume racing without performing this procedure. Here we go.
Safety car, get 0 on the positive on the delta time. Positive on the delta time. What's slow? It's a free stop. We're going to box for C5, Mick, and we're going to put on the bit of flap we need for it.
Okay, it's a free stop, meaning he's running last. He's not going to lose position, is he? If it's possible to restart, then he will be right on the back of the car that he is challenging, which in this race, Lance Stroll is the car directly ahead of him. So Mick Schumacher is now in 15th position. Stroll is in 14th. So you want to give yourself any advantage possible if the race resumes. So it would make sense, if you're not going to lose position, you can pit, you can change onto the soft tyres, and if it's possible to resume racing, you've given yourself the advantage of being on those soft tyres for those remaining lap or whatever, maybe 2 laps, if it's possible for that to happen. But you're only going to benefit from that if it's actually possible. But there's no jeopardy for him because he's not going to lose any positions by going into the pits to change tyres. So it's a free stop.
Copy. Do you want mode slow? Okay, mode slow, yeah, so Latifi crashed. Yeah, so I guess she had a good seat, okay. Awesome driving, Mick, awesome defending.
We'll go back and have a look at that. It very much seemed choreographed. Like I said in the previous one, Schumacher then got a contract with the Mercedes team. Despite Schumacher clearly not being of the calibre of driver to make it in Formula 1, he got a job for the Mercedes team.
Okay, so it'll be 5 laps to go at the line. Sainz is 7 behind, he'll be a blue bit, so we're going to box at the end of this lap. We're going to put a fresh tyre on and just push to the end. Copy.
Let me just rewind that.
Okay, so it'll be 5 laps to go at the line. Sainz is 7 behind, he'll be a blue bit, so we're going to box at the end of this lap.
He'll be a blue. Why are you saying he'll be a blue? There is no notion of resuming racing with lapped cars in situ. Therefore, this notion of blue flags, oh, you just get out of the way and let these cars come through. No, you can't go racing like that. Why at this stage are you saying it'll be a blue? Let's just double check that that's what he said.
Okay, so it'll be 5 laps to go at the line. Sainz is 7 behind, he'll be a blue bit, so we're going to box at the end of this lap. We're going to put a fresh tyre on and just push to the end. Copy.
Strange thing to say. It sounded like he'll be a blue. That's what it sounded like to me. Again, if I'm wrong there, state as such in the comments section.
Okay, Mick, we can go sock 5. Okay, so we'll stay left in turn 14. Okay, double yellow through there, stay to the left. We're going to box, just be legal on delta time until you get into the pit lane. You can go mode T4. Box now, Mick, box now. Copy.
Now here's the jeopardy, okay? You can see Hamilton and Norris, they're on the way down to turn 9 and they're behind the safety car. If you pit now and whilst you're in the pits that safety car snake goes by you, meaning you're then lapped, you're not eligible to unlap. So when you're watching this, and you'll see this on future videos as well, you can look at the grey dot of Pierre Gasly. You know, you've got the 2 Red Bull B team drivers. They could double stack potentially, but the risk of double stacking is that Gasly doesn't come out of the pits until that safety car snake has passed, meaning that he's then lapped, not eligible to unlap. So they don't do that. You can see what they do with Gasly. Anyway, we'll carry on.
Okay, remember, hold brake pressure, mode race start. Is he okay though? All okay. Okay, when you're back on track, get back to positive on the delta time for the safety car. Okay, get plus on delta time as soon as you can, and we're go.
So as you're seeing here, the field is starting to bunch, but the cars are still driving to a delta. They're still having to obey speed restrictions. So they're not able to go full pelt to catch the back of that safety car snake. All right, they have to remain lapping to a delta, which is still going to take time for them to catch the back of the snake.
We'll go to mode slow. Okay, that's 1 time by, so we're obeying the delta time still.
Okay, tools and stuff, where do you want to go?
Yep, good, I'll come back to you. So diff.
Let me just double check what you said there.
Okay, tools and stuff, where do you want to go?
Yep, good, I'll come back to you.
So it's just asking what tools he's got at his disposal, which, I guess, features of the car he can select.
So diff 22, please.
Copy.
We'll go EB5. Okay, so you're good on delta time. Safety car is in turn 4 now. Once we've gone by twice, we'll be able to catch up to the pack. And we can go shape 3, shape 3. Still double yellow and stay hard to the left in turn 14.
Okay.
Okay, that's twice by, so we can build some temp by pushing to get up with the pack. The pack is going into 6.
For those that weren't paying attention, the AlphaTauri team pitted Tsunoda, which promoted Gasly up ahead of him. But now, on the second lap round, being far enough ahead of the safety car snake, the AlphaTauri team has pitted Gasly, dropping him back behind Tsunoda, and he'll emerge behind Tsunoda, both of them having changed onto soft compound tyres. Both zero jeopardy, having been clear of the safety car snake and not going to lose track position in doing so. Some clever cards by the Red Bull B team. Anyway, we'll carry on.
BC1 when you can.
How many laps are left?
Okay, when we go by, it will be 3 laps remaining. And it's still double yellow there.
And just to be clear, they just said when you go by, when you cross the start finish line, there'll be 3 laps remaining, meaning he's now, having crossed the line, he's on lap 56. This is the key lap. In order to have any form of racing whatsoever, the lapped cars must be released on this lap. That way, lap 57 can be that mandatory safety car lap that they must be afforded, and that is the only way that this race can validly restart. Let's see if this is communicated to Mick Schumacher. Remember, Mick, this needs to be the key lap, otherwise it's going to be a safety car finish. That is the top and bottom. There are no alternatives to that. You cannot resume racing with lapped cars in situ, despite all the lies that Martin Brundle will give you about being on a wet day in Belgium where he doesn't think it's mandatory and all that lies. It has to be this lap that they have to be released.
Okay, so that's 3 laps remaining in the race. So the safety car is going into 5, so you're at the back of the pack now. The car we're racing is Stroll. You're in P15, he's in P14. He also has a...
So you can see here, you've got Schumacher, the white dot, and in between Schumacher and Stroll, you've got Bottas and you've got Sainz. Sainz is in 3rd, Bottas is in 4th.
New C5 on. Okay.
So he's just explained that Stroll also had a freeze pit stop to change onto fresh softs.
In terms of blues, you have Tsunoda behind and then Gasly, so you'll have 2.
In terms of blues, you've got the 2 Alpha Tauris behind you that you're going to need to let by. That's not how this works. No, there is no notion of blues. You're going to be released this lap. This is lap 56. If they can declare the track safe this lap, then you are going to be one of the 8 cars that is instructed to pass that safety car, and then you'll have to go around that track and try and catch the back of the pack. That needs to happen you need to be released this lap. You'll be given lap 57 to try and catch the back of the pack, and then lap 58 can be a racing lap. If not, it's a safety car finish. Why are you talking about the notion of blues? That's a fallacy. Why are you saying this? What conversations have you been party to beforehand whereby you are going along with this notion of this being a potential way to resume racing? Because in order for you to be going along with this, you must have been party to some sort of conversation whereby you're going to accept this notion of blue flags resuming racing with lapped cars remaining where they are and not following the unlapping procedure. You just do not do this on the fly.
Blues at the beginning. Stroll will have 3 blues, and then he'll have the 2 blues that you let through, so he has a much worse blue situation. Same with Ricciardo, who's directly ahead of him, so there's a chance with those guys when they're taking the blues.
Again, look at the way he's embellishing this notion of those cars that have been lapped having to give way to the cars behind them. You know, they'll have to obey the wave blue flags, get out of the way while the cars behind them overtake, and whilst that's happening, that might give you an opportunity to overtake the cars that you are supposed to be racing. No. A safety incident has caused racing to be neutralised for everybody, causing some of those gaps to be completely wiped out. And they're going to be completely wiped out for you as well. Hence, we have this procedure that needs to be enacted to apply that sporting fairness to everybody. And that is what the regulations actually mean. There is no interpretation of them because the regulations are grounded in context, that context being this sport of motor racing and how it impacts each and every driver. And that is dictated by the FIA's own International Sporting Code, which underpin the sporting regulations of Formula One. It is as simple as that.
And nobody's going to be unlapping themselves, so this will be the position we'll restart in.
Nobody is going to be unlapping themselves. Why not? That's not in the regulations. Okay, why have you determined that nobody's going to be unlapping themselves, so this will be the positions you'll be restarting in? At this moment in time, Nicholas Latifi, we've seen before, I've showed you in many other videos that we can go to Nicholas Latifi's car camera, and that, as it is being craned off the track and it reaches that corner, it pans around and you can see Marshall still on the track at this moment in time, still sweeping debris. That is the reason that lapped cars aren't being allowed to be released, because it's not safe to release them yet. They've not cleared the track and they've not done the checks. So until such times, you cannot release lapped cars. So why are you projecting that this is how they're going to restart? The reason for not unlapping is that it's not safe to unlap. And you can't unlap until it's safe. When it's safe, okay, if it is safe to do so, and the message, lapped car, that's what the regulations say. It's all underpinned by safety. So you need to firstly make it safe. Once it's safe, you carry out the procedure. Why are you jumping to the idea of a restart with blues? Because you can't do that.
Two cars ahead of you is Bottas and Sainz, and then you have Stroll, Ricciardo, who are racing. And you have no one behind who are racing. The two cars behind will be blues, Tsunoda and Gasly.
Keeps reinforcing the notion of blues, doesn't he?
Will I have to let them buy it, the safety car restart, or can I do my safety car restart normal?
When once the restart happens, you'll immediately get the blue note, I think.
Okay.
But the more efficient you do it, the better, because the guys ahead will have more to do with them, so you should be able to deal with that better.
Is it a vulture in front of me?
That's correct. And he's in P4 in the race, and the cars behind Tsunoda Gasly are P5 and P6.
What's the race order?
P1 Hamilton, P2 Verstappen, P3 Sainz, P4 Bottas.
You can see from tracker view that Lewis Hamilton is now on lap 57 of the race. The lapped cars were not released on lap 56. It's a safety car finish. The earliest that they can be released is this lap. And once they are released, the safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap, having given those released cars the opportunity of making it around the track and joining up with the back of that safety car snake, so that sporting fairness is restored to all competitors before racing can resume. A race that was interrupted by a safety incident has to have the conditions reset for all competitors prior to the resumption of that race. That is the purpose of those regulations that the sport doesn't tell you. It is hiding them from you. Go and read the regulations and just have the basic capacity to understand what words mean and apply them to the context of what this is actually doing. Because those words do not exist in a vacuum. They have a purpose. And that purpose applies to the context of this.
And Tsunoda Gasly.
Copy.
Laps to go, 2 laps. So that means it's going to be a 1-lap dash.
That means it's going to be a 1-lap dash, does it? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It means it's a safety car finish. You've not been released yet. You're a lapped car. In order to go racing again, lapped cars need releasing. And then once they're released, the safety car returns to the pits at the end of the following lap. It's a safety car finish.
So I think you'll just have to let the blues by quickly and then just stay right on their tail and do a better job than the other guys ahead letting blues through.
Reinforcing blues.
Copy.
But what you have is a 20-year-old lad, approximately that age, taking instructions from people who he believes are telling him the right information. That's the dynamics of it, sadly. We've got too many people that probably don't know enough, probably Yeah, they might have seen something, but Martin Brundle might have come into the driver's briefing and said, "Oh yeah, that's not a mandatory regulation. Yeah, you can resume with lapped cars. You don't have to get them out of the way. That's always a discretionary call." And if Martin Brundle comes into the driver's briefing and tells the drivers that, it's likely that they'll believe him. It's likely that some of these lads don't work through the mechanics of a situation. They don't go, okay, well, if we go along with that, Brundle, what impact does that have on each of us competitors? And they don't actually think about it that way. It's only after the event where they're like, oh shit, what was going on there? Oh, I wasn't allowed to race him. My race was buggered because of that. Oh, that's the issue then, isn't it? But beforehand, if somebody comes into the driver's briefing that they believe has got knowledge and authority and informs them that, yes, this is possible and this is what we might look to do, should this event require it? Oh, okay. We're expecting this, aren't we? Yeah, we could expect that. Not a problem. Not a problem. And they're all complicit with it. Not one of them, and these are, again, race engineers. They're either completely complicit, well, whether they are completely complicit, but they're either oblivious to the rules, which as a race engineer, you should, it's your job role to know what the rules are and know the purpose of those rules and be able to pick out what the purpose is just through the analysis. Just play it through. What's going on here and why is it happening like that? What is the purpose of this? And therefore you'd be able to pick out why it needs to be done and how you're disadvantaged if it's not being done and why that's not allowed to happen. But rather than protest, rather than object, they all go with it. Why is that? Why do they all go with it? Are they sold on the notion that we've got the eyes of the world on us now? It would be in our interest to make it exciting for people because that's going to maintain a bigger audience, which is going to mean a lot more revenue in and around the sport, which means we all benefit from increased money. Advertising revenue, increased TV money, much more money in the prize pot for everybody that gets a cut of it. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Okay, your brake temps are good. Just try and give yourself a little more tire temp. I see you're doing it. So the restart, we'll do it in mode W. That's the best performance we have right now. And then you'll have K1 available at the end.
So at the restart, we've not got to the bit, and it's ending, wow. Yeah, have we? And it's ending, wow. But already we're talking about the restart. They're now saying lapped cars to overtake the leader. So Norris, Ocon, Alonso, Leclerc and Vettel. And it's ending, wow. Do you remember that bit? I seem to have memorised that bit for some reason.
So the restart, we'll do it in mode W.
We don't know that it's ending well yet, mate. Why? And this is a delayed message as well. We're hearing this probably 4 seconds after it was said. Look where Hamilton is. In fact, I can't even go exact. I can't zoom in because this is a recording, isn't it?
The best performance we have right now, and then you'll have K1 available at the end.
Copy.
Well, there's just Vettel that's overtaken Hamilton and the safety car as he comes round turn 9. And we've already talked about the restart before we knew the safety car was ending.
Safety car in this lap, safety car in this lap. Okay, so we're going to be racing Stroll and Ricciardo. You have the two blue.
Them lads in the HAAS garage, they're all excited about it. We've seen the video with them celebrating good times. Come on, haven't we? Wonder what their motivation was. I mean, they're supplied by a Ferrari engine, aren't they? So, ties with Ferrari. Why are they supporting Red Bull? Makes you wonder. Or is it that they just don't like Lewis? Who knows?
Blues behind, get ready for the blues. You go to mode W, you can go to mode W now. Safety car in this lap. Hamilton has the field. Okay, mode W, mode W. You can do it now.
Okay, and then they go on to the final lap. That demonstrates that HAAS were complicit with the rules of the sport being broken in order to manufacture that final racing lap. Didn't call it out, but that's not in the rules of the sport, and they just went with it. That is the HAAS team being complicit with breaking the rules of the sport. No two ways about it. Now, I don't recall there being anything beyond this. If you've watched the first video, which is just the uninterrupted audio, and you've picked up something of significance in either the final lap or after the race on the cool-down lap, then please do so in the comment section. Let me know what that significant audio is, and I will do a video about it to highlight that to other people so that everybody gets to see the significance of everything. I might even do a redo of the video highlighting it all. I'm just trying to keep this as short as possible. Okay, next one of these is going to be the next driver up the road, which is Lance Stroll. You're not going to want to miss the Lance Stroll one, because he ends after the race and he shouts out, "Yeah, man, what the?" Says the naughty word beginning with F, because he's clearly confused by what has taken place there, and the Aston Martin team tell him that they'll explain later. There's a lot of explaining later to do in this situation, isn't there? Lando has to have it explained to him later that he got a slow puncture that he didn't know about. Lance has to have it explained to him later what was actually going on there. It's funny that all this later explanation needs to happen, because in authentic events, you don't need to hush people down and tell, "Oh, we'll tell you about that later." Anyway, look out for that one. That will be along as soon as I get a chance to do it. Cheers.